Hello, everybody. Welcome back to what are we, week 38 of Masters Mindset Monday. And I am so excited. I met Angela Anderson through the side hustle that I do. I tell you guys, you always meet somebody that just shines, and Angela is one of those people. And so I'm excited to bring her on today because she specializes in money mindset. Like, how perfect is that for everything that we do here in our group? And so welcome, Angela, to Masters Mindset Monday.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Please let me know if you're here and joining us. I want to make sure that your specific questions are answered, or your concerns, or what you're thinking about, what you're grappling with. We can talk about it and get you some help and some support today. So please make sure and interact.
Doesn't that already get you guys excited for what Angela has to offer? Angela, I wanted to introduce you, but I was going through your bio, and obviously I've met you outside of, the salon industry, and I was just like, oh my goodness, there's so much there. So I'm actually going to let you introduce yourself, which is not my norm, but I really want you to be able to, your verbiage and I tell you that all the time. I love how you put words together, is going to come out a lot stronger than me introducing you. So do you want to take it over?
Sure. So good morning. I've actually been many, many things in my life. And at the heart and soul of it, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a lover of spirituality and art and music and dance and beauty and food. And I also have a really strong passion for personal development and empowerment. And what I have found is that one of the ways that we're not empowered here on this planet in this life is through finances. And I was lucky enough to be born into a family where my parents, when I was in middle school, they took a class on finance. And they were always pretty responsible people, now that I remember. And I know a lot of you probably didn't grow up getting really positive messages around money, but my parents took this class and they were told, if you go through all the class information and turn in all your worksheets and everything, then we will give you free financial planning. And they did it. And as a result, they are now multimillionaires.
Wow, that's fabulous.
So, yeah, I watched my parents, who we could not afford to run the air conditioning when we lived in Phoenix, Arizona. So if you live in a hot place and you have a swamp cooler and we had a pool in the backyard, we went from that to my parents really deciding that they were going to get a handle on their finances. They were going to get focused. They were going to work as a team. They were going to become empowered, and they were going to follow the steps and do it. Now they have more money than they know what to do with. And they drive a BMW because they can, and they're wonderful people, and they spend their time, like it's holiday season coming out where, they spend their time putting baskets together and turkeys for families in the community. And so I was taught at an early age how to handle money and how to manage money. And all throughout all the different things that I've done, which has been a health and fitness professional, and we do magnetic lashes on the side together, and being a stay-at-home mom, at the end of the day, I was always just really, really good with my money. And my problem with money for many years actually was an income issue, is figuring out how am I going to make money in my business, right? As an entrepreneur, as a stay-at-home mom. But at the end of the day, the bottom line is my friends, my colleagues, people who spent time around me would come to me for money advice and help with money, because they could see, being around me, that there were certain habits that I had that most people don't, that are going to define how much wealth you can build for yourself and what you can do. So I got started later than my parents in terms of actually figuring out what I needed to do to build wealth, instead of just chasing, I need to make money to, buy food and whatnot, put braces on my kids. But it doesn't matter if you get started late. There's still things that you can do, and that's what I teach. And so that's what my purpose is. And to throw another little twist into it, because I'm such a lover of personal development, in spirituality, improving yourself and being in alignment and doing things that are true to you, for many, many years, I have dove into that realm to help people really connect with themselves and change the things about them that they don't like and that are standing in the way. And so before I really came fully out of the closet, was like, I'm going to help people become millionaires and multimillionaires. That's what I'm going to do. I had a bookkeeping business, and I worked for this organization called the Psyche Center International. And they teach a modality where you can actually access your subconscious mind and change your beliefs. And it is, out of all the different things that I've tried, it just works. It's crazy how it works. And my clients, they write to me and they're just like, this is like magic. Like, what'd you do to me? I'll say, what did you do to me? It's like, well, I didn't really do anything to you. We did this session together. And so it's been just incredible just how quickly you can change. And I happen to work for the guy and learn all the stuff and get mentored by him. And so I also add that in as a service to my clients, because I realize that just learning how to deal with your money isn't really enough for people. Like, you can go do that. It's really learning from someone who, made all the mistakes that you have, can hold you accountable, can really help you figure it out as an entrepreneur, because our money issues are different than someone that just goes and gets a W-2. And then also got your back emotionally and psychologically. So that's my bio.
Oh my gosh. I told you guys, there's no possible way I could put the words together to introduce Angela the way that she deserves. Angela, you are so inspirational to me. I read your posts. I follow you, obviously. So Master's Mindset Monday started with a workshop that I did last year called Inspire Your Desire. And it was amazing how many women really didn't know who they were, what they wanted, how to get there. And I don't know all the answers, but I know that I had those same questions, and that in the salon industry, I know how to get them to the next steps from opening to, to the end. And so we designed a planner, and in the planner, every week they are accountable how many clients, dividing how many hours they work, so they can just truly see what their wage is. And then I teach another course called Keeping Profits in Your Pockets, and that's where they learn very detailed. It's intimidating to people to take that course, because it brings out emotions, because we have learned that emotions are equal with finances. When our finances are good and we feel like we're more than existing, and like what your parents were able to do is not just exist and keep things on, but build up and then be successful with that and be able to build a new home, have new, luxuries in life and stuff. But then to the level where you give back. When you have the freedom of finances to give back, your emotional state is so much different, because you're no longer self-sabotaging yourself and thinking you're not good enough. Now you're like, how can I make others better? And so, like what you're saying, it just ties in flawlessly. And so what do you do to get people started? So like if somebody was like, okay, you know what Angela said, I'm all in and I want to be a part of that. What's the first steps that you recognize that they need to take to be able to, get on board with what you're doing?
Yeah. So there's in money, there is a defensive game that you need to play. And then there's an offensive game, meaning you need to have certain things in place in order to have a really strong financial foundation. And then from there, you can make decisions about, okay, how am I going to grow my wealth? So it's kind of like back in the old days where you built your castle and then you put a moat around your castle, and then you go into like partnerships with other royalty and, to build your wealth and grow your wealth. And so we can look at it in modern times like that. And regardless of where you're at in terms of your income, the first thing that we need to do is we need to reprogram your money code. And that's just my catchy phrase way of saying, hey, whatever is hanging out there that is still a gremlin and a weight over your shoulders about why you can't or you shouldn't or you don't deserve or you're not worthy, or even seemingly unrelated issues. Like I wrote a post, and you all can send me a friend request on Facebook and start reading some of their posts that really spoke with a lot of people, called I'm Too Fat to Be Rich. And
I
because,
read
right,
that.
like
Yeah.
100%, almost 100% of my female clients hate their bodies. They have this awful relationship with their body. And so it consumes, basically what I'm saying is that everything starts with, like what you're saying, Amy, from your, your emotions. And your emotions happen because of the way that we perceive the world around us and the way that we view ourselves. And so that is what then ignites an emotion, negative or positive. And because of that emotion, that's when we decide unconsciously what behavior we're going to engage in. I'm starving, I'm sad, I'm really stressed out, so I'm going to eat 6 donuts. And so we can see that line, and there's so many people out there that will teach you and walk you through that self-discovery process, but there's not many people who can actually help you change the pattern. And that's where the very first step in the work that I do with my clients is we identify, and you already know what they are. I really bet that you do, is we get you some relief around that and really cut those patterns and do pattern interrupts. That way you can focus on the actual money and financial aspects and make some headway with it instead of getting in your own way and stressing your own self out. So that's step one. And the good news is that it's a very simple process to do. It's kind of like the kissing cousin of clinical psychotherapy or hypnotherapy, but it's a lot faster. And we actually don't need to go into a ton of detail. Like some of my clients have had some pretty bad trauma, childhood trauma, mother wounds, father wounds, a lot of trauma around finances, breakups, divorces, really bad financial decisions, bad deals that they got into where they got taken advantage of, lost all their money. We don't have to necessarily go into the details. Like, it's not talk therapy, but so I do use a specific process of just identifying, okay, what's the issue? And then what do you need to believe? How do you want to re-perceive that, your relationship to that? And that's when we go into your subconscious mind and we work on the re-perception and the re-patterning of that. So rest assured that you don't have to lay it out on the table and get a box of Kleenex and, tell me all of the gory details in order for you to be able to change. And the other thing is you could be walking around with a condition that you've been dealing with for years and years and years and years, and it really can be shifted in a very profound way for you within the first session. So although multiple sessions are what's important for continuity and begin to go deeper and peel the layers of the onion, because we have a tendency to want to lie to ourselves and show up and be like, well, I don't know what's really wrong, or I don't know what's really happening. And so it's more that kind of thing, which is why we do multiple sessions, and I have multiple sessions with my clients, because it just serves you better. And it allows you the time and space that you need to change. Because we all, like, think about it. Have you ever done any kind of cliff diving? Like, there's always a kid that's going to go to the edge and just jump, right? I am the person that needs to see like 3 or 4 people jumping, and then I'm kind of like out there, It takes me a little more time.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing that we need to do. And then we get into the actual financial strategy and the building blocks of what it actually is going to take for you to get rich.
Wow. I love how simple you can explain this for us to all relate to. And so, the idea of we're supposed to surround ourselves with like-minded people so that we can get where, other people are around us. And it's, really difficult right now to kind of even hang out with our girlfriends, so it's like at a time like this where we do have that self-sabotage and we think, oh my gosh, what else am I going to do, whether it's financial income or what am I going to do with my home, what am I going to do with my children, all these other stresses that are out there. You're right, though, when we got to center and refocus about, okay, what are we going to do to take back over our life, get it recentered, refocused, revisioned, whatever it is that you need to do. And we talk about sometimes you just have to let go of your career. You have to let go of family members. You have to let go of the things that are around you that continuously hold you back so that you can move forward. And so with what you're saying, it is a lot about letting go. And you don't have to, like exactly like you said, I don't have to pull out the Kleenex and, spill everything out to you, but I like that you have ways set that seem simple and not so emotionally divulged that I would be scared to even sign up for that. Because sometimes we don't want to face what's there. And I agree with you. I think we all know what it is. We just don't want to confront it, and that's difficult. Oh,
Yeah.
I love it, love it, love it. You are so inspirational. I just ask everybody, if you have questions for Angela, this is your time to ask, even obviously if you're on replay. We know Mondays are very difficult for everybody, especially right now, to both join in. So if you're on replay, you can either private message or, put in the comments here as well. Angela, so you've been doing this, obviously, your whole life has set you up for this career path and what you're doing. I talk about having more than one source of income, whether they have, two jobs or side hustles or whatever it is, even if they do DIY projects and they have a little Etsy store. Do you have any thoughts on that? Because here's what happened in the salon industry, all around the world, and this is an international group. Around the same time, all of us were forced to close for a few weeks, and some places are still closed months later. They didn't have another source of income, and now they're trying to find it, and a lot of places aren't hiring. And so I've given, ideas of, internet kind of things, or they can do voiceovers for books, or they can do audio stuff. There's lots of things that they can do. They just have to be creative and find their passion with that. But what's your take on multiple sources of income? Do we really need that? Or, are we safe with like two?
3 words: yes, yes, yes. I mean, you can Google it. How many income streams do millionaires have? And they're like 7, at least 7.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's to protect yourself, to build layers of protection, because the only thing that we know for sure is death and taxes, right? And, that's a financial person that's going to say that. But absolutely. But here's the thing where people get it wrong, is that we think, and it's coming from that belief that money is hard to make, that we need to then be working 80 hours a week in order to create those multiple income streams. And that's not necessarily true. That's one way to do it. But if you're over 40, your hormones are going to be like, I don't think so. And you probably already experienced that. It's like, wait a minute, I have children and I have this and I have that. Like, I can't do all these things. So may I speak to the different income streams that I feel are the most profitable?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm actually a believer in network marketing as well. And so maybe there's people in this group that are also part of our team. I think that having some kind of service or product that you can offer online that is in demand, right, that the market wants, is really important, and that you can get behind and that you love. And that's why network marketing opportunities make so much sense, because I would be buying magnetic lashes. I was buying crappy ones before I started Tori Bell, but I would be buying it regardless of whether there was an opportunity or not. So I think that you've got your main business income, and then having a couple other little ones. Like, why not get paid for your hobbies? Again, as long as they're not stressing you out, right? And as long as they're not causing you to have health issues or relationship problems or, putting a strain. And then the other sources of income that I teach are investing, because that can be very, very passive, and real estate. And my family and I, we have done really, really well this year in real estate and investing. So while everything was going to crap and people unfortunately were losing their jobs and having to shut down, my real estate became in such high demand, and the investment strategies that me and my financial advisors use have done really, really well. And so I actually had a negative income month this year, and I'm still on track to earn the most income that I've ever made in my life this year.
Wow.
So And it's because I've got all of these, I actually have 4 paychecks from 2 different network marketing companies, because I signed my husband up as well. So it's the 2 of us together. So that's 4 different paychecks from 2 different companies. And then I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 in stock market investment strategies. And then I've got like 4 real estate things going on where I rent. I'm the landlord. I own the property and I rent to renters.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, thank you for clarifying and confirming that as well, because, I always say you got to have more than one source. And this year was proof of that. Now, forgive, I had 2 sources that were tied into the industry. And one of them is, at the table doing nails. And then the other one is online workshops. Both of those were my main sources of income for quite a few years. And so both of them went to 0 rather quickly. And so it was a good thing that we too have rentals, we have other sources of income coming in. And I was so thankful for that. And that's when I was like, oh my gosh, this needs to be out there more. More people need to see that we can't put, as they say, all our eggs in one basket. We really do have to diverse it. And you know what? It makes it fun. For me, it keeps me focused because I like the hustle. I like so many things going on, but I can focus on this one while this is the season, this is the time, this is what I should be doing. And then the other one, I can kind of, let it go for a little bit and let it ride. And all of a sudden that one picks up the passion, and then I get to focus on something else for a little bit. So I like the diversity of having things in my life that's not all just one thing. And so, I think it's important for them to find what works for them. We've shared many lives in here before about, what they can do so that they're not thinking, well, I don't know what I can do, and they don't know where to start. And so you guys can go back and find those other lives as well. Angela, what other advice what's the number one frequently asked question that you get actually? And then we'll start with that.
Well, it's interesting around money because people don't really come out and ask questions, honestly. It's a very sensitive subject. They don't want to talk about it. They just want to know, Angela, can you help me? And why should I trust you? And so, and that's why I invite all of you to go to my wall, add me as a friend on Facebook, and you'll start seeing what my methods are, what my philosophies are, and deciding whether you want to trust me or not. Because when we go into a private message, that's when I'm going to say, well, what's your debt like? What's your savings like? How much money do you make? Like, those aren't normal questions that you're just going to ask someone to get to know them.
Yeah, so true.
But behind the curtain, when we get past that, the 2 things really are, number one, can I really change? Like, can I really, these things that I hate about myself, that I don't feel like I can do, or too complicated, confusing, is this modality that you talk about, Angela, does it work, and is it going to work for me? And that's the top one. And then the other is the financial strategy that you teach me, and am I willing to do it? Because it's kind of like, we've all watched Marie Kondo. It's like so simple and straightforward. That's the financial strategy I teach. It's pretty simple and straightforward. There's nuances when you're an entrepreneur, and there's things that you need to know that mainstream financial advice doesn't tell you, because they don't specialize in entrepreneurs. But for the most part, it's pretty straightforward, and you could do it on your own. So you just don't. And that's why people pay Netflix to watch Marie Kondo, or they buy Marie Kondo's book, or they say to hell with it, and they go hire someone off of Craigslist to come and sit there side by side with them while they dig out their closet.
Yeah.
Because there's value in that, in just getting it done and having someone to be like, to help you course correct instantly.
Yeah.
And
your story.
Go ahead.
Sorry, your story of your parents was a perfect example. If they would not have reached out and put the faith, the time, and the trust into somebody else, they would not have fast forwarded into their life as fast as they did to be successful for the rest of it, and then continue to share that with others like yourself.
Yeah.
So getting expert advice, I think, is part of that. And like you said, the big thing was the trust of who you're getting in with.
Yeah, for sure. And that's another thing too, is entrepreneurs or women do reach out to me and they say, well, I get investing and I get real estate, but I met somebody or I know somebody that lost all their money, da 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 da. So how do I know who to trust? And so in terms of that, I introduce my clients to my financial advisors who have been working with my parents and my family for years and years and years. And like, for example, there's an investment that we made with my grandfather's life insurance policy. What was given to my grandmother, we invested it with this specific firm and in a specific way. And we're using the money to take care of her. She's like 93. And do you guys know how freaking expensive it is to get old? It's like no joke. It's not sweat off our back. It's not coming out of anybody's pocket. She had 8 kids, and no one is having any financial burden whatsoever because of. And it was only like $30,000 that we got from my grandfather's life insurance. Like where a lot of people, they get like life insurance for $100,000, $250,000, $500,000, even $1 million. So it wasn't a big payoff. What the payoff is knowing exactly what we needed to do and who we needed to do it with. That's the value, like that buffer that I come in when I work with my clients, is I help you sort out and figure out this is what you need to do. And by the way, I'm going to introduce you to people that you can do it with, that you can trust.
That is fabulous. As you were talking, another thing that we talk a lot about in here that people don't want to give, they don't want to give it, or they think they don't have it, is time. You need to take time to invest in yourself, and then the time to maintenance everything that you have going on. If you're in network marketing, you need the time to build your teams, the time to, market. If you're in a salon situation, you have to take the time to build your clientele. Everything takes time. And when it comes to financial things, it takes time too. You have to build and do all the steps to be able to get it there. Do you ever find that people are like, I don't have the time to do this, but yet they're always holding themselves back from being where they really want to be?
Oh yeah, but they're not my clients, but you know what I mean? Like they're not the ones that will reach out and private message me. And
That's
so,
true.
yeah, it's anything, weight loss, a good relationship, healing your hormones, you just, and I know and it's really, once it starts working though, you realize that you're saving yourself time. And but again, it goes back to how was everything rolled out for us when we were kids. I have clients whose moms racked up the credit cards and the dads were tight asses and they got all these mixed messages, or dad was an entrepreneur and said things like, if I get this client, then we're all going to go to Disney, and they never went to Disney, and just like crazy, the craziness of what money does to so many people. And so they internalized it in a way that has created a situation now that is unbearable for them. And that's why the subconscious work is so powerful. And in fact, my clients, after they go through the 8-week program they have with me, they stay on and they work with me on a month-to-month basis, and they keep doing the subconscious rewiring sessions because it works. And they want to then work on other areas of their life. And I always think to myself, well, that's interesting. Like they didn't jump to a weight loss coach or a relationship coach, but that's what we're working on because they got all the financial stuff. They're on track. We'll check in about it like every 3 months or so. Their cash flow planning and where they're on and as they're moving into new levels. But they really want to keep doing the internal work because they see that, oh my gosh, like I've got this one area of my life that's now pretty much running itself. And so now I can focus on other things. It's really fun.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And I think the category that it was a light bulb moment for me was when you were talking about the fitness side of it, because it's so true. We know that we have to invest in it. So we all sign up, and get our mindset around it. Then we were like, okay, well, I'll do it in the morning. And in the mornings, we're too busy. We're not motivated. I'll do it in the afternoon at lunch. And then I'm kind of hungry, so I don't want to go work out. We make these excuses, even though the time's there. Sometimes we fill that time with other things. Or for me, sometimes I'll get on social media and then 20 minutes later, I'm just like, oh, shoot, I just wasted 20 minutes. And so for me, I have to put those priorities first and say, I got to do all of this to-do list first before I can do the Amy list of what I want to do later. The time is there. We just have to schedule it and make it. And it's funny that when we have a passion for what we want to do, we always make the time for it. And so, like what you said, though, is that we end up creating more time later on when we no longer have to focus on all these little things. Get the little things done, work your way through, get the right mindset. And then you're so focused on what you do, you get excited and you want to spend more time doing it. You stay up late, you get up early, whatever it is, because you can see the results happening. And then you start having people gravitate to you because they're like, what are you doing? I want to do that. And so it just naturally builds up when you focus and put the time to, and invest in yourself. I love your mindset. I've always, from day one, I was attracted to your posts. And then I know when I finally messaged out to you, I was like, I just have to do this. And so thank you for coming on today and sharing your life story with us as well.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting about what you said, Amy, is in finance, I have found that it does feel like Marie Kondo at first if you haven't been doing it. But then you can put things on autopilot, and you can then take a step back and let professionals handle it more. But I think that we have it the wrong way in terms of because what makes most sense is for me to work with people who are earning money, right? You have cash flow, but you're feeling chaotic with what to do with it, how to manage it, paying taxes. Because it's really a whole other mindset and steps that you need to take if you're broke and you're in a financial bind. I can help you with that, but it's harder for you to pay somebody to get you out of that because you don't have the money to do it. And so it's more like you do need to you need to be the main. It's like you're in the middle of a wheel, and the wheel is your whole financial house. But you've got to be in the middle and unstick yourself so that the wheel can turn. But once the wheel starts turning, there's not a whole lot that you need to do other than do some check-ins and still be aware and understand what you need to be aware of, right? And so part of your wheel, the spokes, are your CPA, right? Your tax attorney, if you need one. I recommend having a tax attorney if you're making over $300, maybe $350 a year, depends on your business, your expenses and all that. Tax attorneys, estate planning attorneys, bookkeeper. So you have a wealth management team, but you need to remember that you're in the middle. And if you feel like you're just piecemealing it together and passing it off onto them and you're still not meeting your financial goals, like not living in your dream house, or you haven't paid it off, or you can't set aside money for your kids' education, or you're not knowing how much you need to set aside for retirement, hitting those goals, like that kind of thing, that's when we need to be like, okay, we've got to get you back online because you're in the middle of all this. And then you can back off once it starts rolling again. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's not constant. But then, we all have experience with that. Like you see, fitness, then it gets easier getting up and working out every day, right? Or it gets easier choosing a salad and saying no thanks to the breadsticks or whatever it is that you
Yeah. Yeah, but that's so true. Thank you. Like the way you word things. I know I've told you this before. I've messaged you. I love the way that you put things into words. And like Angela invited you guys to follow her. You guys will learn so much just by following her main Facebook page, let alone anything else that she has to offer. And so if people want to follow you, do you have a website? Do you have other social medias that they can follow you on as well?
Yeah, so mostly I'm on Facebook. I've committed to doing, some teaching and some value content every single day, and of course, an invitation to work with me is always included. So Facebook is number one in terms of social media, but I'm also on LinkedIn, and I've started posting. I repurpose the content, right? I use the same content and take it over to LinkedIn, and I do Instagram and post on occasion there. So I have some Instagram things, and I have a website. It's angelaanderson.life. And then if you do want to get started and you want to hear about what it's like to work with me, you can private message me and we can just chat through Messenger. Like, I don't feel the need to do like sales calls or things like that. We can be very clear very quickly over Messenger. Or if you are busy and you just want to talk, then we can schedule a talk for 30 minutes, and I'll send you some stuff ahead of time that you can look at, and that way we can just talk and see if what you're looking for is something that I can provide for you. But yeah, I would say that since we're all meeting here on Facebook and you're on Facebook already, then let's just see each other around town here.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Angela, you are, like I said, a shining star. You have this calmness about you that I really appreciate. And I can't thank you enough for your knowledge. Thank you for sharing your time with us today. You guys well know that if you're watching this on replay, we go through every comment again and all of that. Even if you're watching this on other social medias like YouTube and all of that, please feel free to reach out. Do not no longer self-sabotage yourself when there are resources available for you to be able to go and get yourself out of your mindset and into ours so that you can move forward. And that's what all of this is about. Angela, any final things that you would like to share with us?
I would like to say that, if your goal is financial empowerment, financial sovereignty, then the great thing about it is, see, numbers are linear. They're pretty easy to figure out. It's not like raising kids. And that's what is a relief. And that's actually what I really loved about having a bookkeeping business, was because it's so straightforward. It's just that we can be very complicated, and we can overcomplicate. And so the more that you can take a deep breath and step back and ask yourself, how can I make this more simple? What's the next thing I need to do? Then just sit back with that, because you don't have to have invented the Tesla or have bought stock in Apple, 10, 15 years ago, or, have invested in Bitcoin when it was cheap. You don't need any of that in order to be financially empowered and safe and secure. And so start now, start today. It may feel like it will take a little bit of a while, but if you've been in the dark and confused and a little stressed out for 5 years, then I promise you within 6 months, you'll have changed so many things, but you just got to get on track. And it honestly is a lot easier to do than weight loss. And some of the other things that we do to ourselves out there. So just rest assured, it's really not that bad.
It's so true. I think it's just finding the right people, as you said, that you can trust, that you can relate to, and then, give the time investing in yourself. So, I love it. Well, Angela, thank you so much for coming on today. I would love in the future to bring you on again. We're designing the 2021 planner, so things are going to change up just a little bit. So I'm going to be able to, excited to incorporate some of the ideas that you've shared as well. Again, thank you guys. You guys know that you can go back into the prior weeks of Masters Mindset Monday in the events section. You can go into the past and look up anything that we've already discussed. You can also do a search at the top of the group, within the group, for topics, and we'll bring up different lives around those topics. So we've talked a lot about financial situations in this group, and I appreciate that some of you have opened up and gotten past the block of vulnerability, that you've been able to open up and share some of your stories with us, and it's been rewarding, and it's been amazing. So thank you guys for that. Thank you again, Angela, for sharing your time and your wisdom with us. I appreciate you so very much.
Thank you so much. And hey, you can do it.
Yes.
If you want help, I'm here, and Amy's here.
Yes. All right. Thanks, guys. See you next Monday.